Are you tired of feeling like your husband doesn't understand or support you? I can assure you that you're not the only wife who thinks and feels that. I can assure you of that, and you'll see in a few moments. But what if I told you that the solution to this problem lies in understanding and supporting your husband's emotions? So Kingsley, wait a minute. Are you saying that I'm responsible? Are you saying that no, I'm saying you have what at your disposal, something that is so important, critical, potent that could help him show more of the emotion that you have been wanting to see, longing to see, wish to see, right? So that's what I'm going to help you with in this episode, this video. Now, as we talk about the shocking truth that your husband, have feelings too, and learn how to understand and support him. Understand and support your husband. So in this video, I'll be talking about the myth of the emotionless husband and why that could be harmful if you embrace or continue to share or hold true that myth. We're also going to talk about the common misconceptions about husband, or that husband as a man, and it's more about male and men behaviors. That we're going to talk about the misconceptions, and I'm also going to cover the reasons why your husband may keep his feelings to himself. Why is he doing that? Why is he seeming to be withholding, showing his emotions from you? And somehow it's been misunderstood, like he doesn't want to engage, he doesn't care. And all those are misconceptions and assumptions that are being made. Now, granted, there are always exceptions to everything, right? And then I'm going to talk about how to encourage your husband, how to encourage emotional expression in your husband. Now, if you're hearing me for the first time and is wondering who am I to be speaking on a topic such as this one, well, let me just say I'm Kingsley Grant, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. I call myself the Sherpa because I think that not only am I coming from a professional standpoint, but also from a personal standpoint, being possibly ahead of you in this journey of marriage, but also in the studies and my education and academics. I'm not saying that it's anything better than, or it's not a comparison. It's a simple saying, giving you an idea of who I am. And so having counseled and coached hundreds of couples over the past several years, and having been married for more than 3 decades. Now, I know I don't look it, and I know you're probably one, like, you're in shock, but hold it. No, it's true. I can show the papers. And being married for more than 3 decades, I think I'm more than qualified to talk about a topic like this one, and do so with confidence. And you'll see, and hopefully you'll also agree possibly with that, having listened to this episode. Let me also recommend that you listen to my podcast at happiermarriagesecrets.com, happiermarriagesecrets.com/podcast, and also read the blogs that you'll find also on that website, happiermarriagesecrets.com. You'll see access to the podcast and also to the blogs where I cover topics like this one and a whole bunch of other topics as well. Now, at the end of this video, I'll share with you how to get a free gift that I want to let you have once you get to the end of this video. So hang in there, don't go anywhere, just stay glued. And as we dive into this topic, the shocking truth, husband have feelings too. Learn how to understand and support your husband. Now, despite popular belief, your husband have feelings, and it's crucial for you as his wife to understand and support him in order to have what I call a lasting and happier marriage. It's one of those ways that we are making marriages happier again, by having clarity and understanding of the person that you're married to. And so this video is more focused on you as a wife. And I have also other videos that I've covered other aspects of the relationship where the husband has a responsibility as well. So it's not like he's been let off the hook. So I'm letting him off the hook, like he doesn't have a responsibility as well, because he also have a responsibility. He also can show interest. He also needs to do the work, but sometimes he wants to, but the environment may not be conducive. It may not be because of it's not your fault. It's just how it happens to be in the relationship. And sometimes what happened is it becomes difficult, right? Because you want him to, he may want to, but for some reason he is not. And so we're going to kind of unpack that today. Now, there's this notion that men don't have feelings. And I can understand, because in some cultural aspects, for me, as you're hearing my accent and wondering, well, maybe where I'm from Jamaica. I grew up in a culture where it was the unspoken, I believe, unspoken script that was out there, that was a socialized aspect of men. We were told not to show our emotions. So big boys don't cry. Did you hear that? Have you ever heard that? And so we grew up with this idea, and I'm sure other cultures have this experience as well. I know mainly in the Caribbean is very big, and of course in a number of other countries. And the prevailing thought is that we as men have to be strong, and if we showed our emotions, especially to cry, somehow we are weak and we're not a man. It's not manly to be that way. And so this prevailing thought is out there, and unfortunately, some wives, I'm not saying you, but some wives take that into the marriage, and they have this idea that their husband is this tough, strong person, which he is. And many times it's also then because of that thought, somehow he's not given a pass, or he's expected. There's an expectation. There might be communication around that as well. And he may also be guilty of that because he has presented himself that way. And so you as a wife, it has believed him and trusted that, okay, you're strong, you're confident, and this is what but I believe that it's unhelpful. It can be also harmful for the relationship, because the more you don't see him show his emotion, the more you're questioning whether he is invested in the relationship, whether he cares, and all of those things that can happen, which can have a rippling effect, right, on your relationship, which you may be experiencing right now as a result of that. So some of the common misconceptions is that the strong and emotionless husband, that there's a stereotype, and I mentioned, alluded to that a few moments ago. The stereotype of this strong husband who is emotionless. But here's what I know, that men in general really do a great job in restraining, showing the emotion that they could truly show, that could be so damaging. It could be so, dangerous. And so sometimes as men, we're working hard to restrain and hold back that emotion that we know, if we allow it to get to what it could get to, could truly create great damage. Now, I'm not saying it is not true for wives that you as a wife cannot also use other things, but you probably use words mostly. We use words as men, and we also, in the physical and stronger of the two. Now, again, there are exceptions, but that's the idea. That's how it is. It's just a reality. We're the stronger of the two. And if we truly get to the place of rage, or we can be very destructive. And so sometimes we are withholding our emotions for the sake of the relationship. We're doing it for the relationship's sake. But I can understand it can be misunderstood. It can be misinterpreted as, like I said before, not caring and not showing that you are invested in the relationship. And so I want you, if you're listening to as a husband, I want to say to you that we have a responsibility as well, that we want to be balanced, and we want to make sure we keep that in our mind, that we could be continuing this narrative and somehow not helping our wives to better understand, or our wife to better understand that we are doing this on behalf of the relationship. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't show, and that's a whole different topic, but I won't go off there, but you can and should not show your emotions. And what would that look like? So this stereotype can lead to misunderstandings, and also the lack of support, because there's an expectation and an assumption being made. And so even as a wife, you may not even know how to What can you do? And so you are doing the best you can. And somehow your husband seen it as nagging, as pestering, as just kind of, he's just like, tired of it and he doesn't want to hear any more of it. But I can understand your desperation because you want to connect with him. That's how you connect with him, through his emotions. Because again, you're primarily an emotional creature. Doesn't mean you're emotional, but that's how we, as a wife, as a woman, you've been wired. That's just what it is. And so you want to connect that way. And because that's not his primary way of connecting, there's got to be a negotiation. There's got to be an understanding. There's got to be a kind of compromise, right? Now, it's important then that you recognize that your husband, like everyone else, do have a wide range of emotions and also needs. And he too may want to express, and maybe in his mind, he's expressing the best way he knows how. And when he does, he doesn't get any encouragement or acknowledgement or support. Other what he gets is not good enough, try harder, do more, and so on. And it may not be directly said that way, but he interprets it that way and is like, he's never going to be good enough. What he's doing is not enough. And so we've got to be, and not we, but as a wife, it's important that you kind of keep this in mind as you engage with your husband. Here's the other thing I want to share with you, and that is understanding your husband's emotions, right? One of those ways to better understand your husband's emotions is to be curious and ask curious questions, is to practice active listening and open communication, meaning that you're engaging him and leaning in. And this is also true that, of course, a husband does the same thing too. I'm not somehow saying he shouldn't have practiced these communication skills, but I'm speaking to you that it's important that you practice active listening, right? Where you're engaged, you're reflective. I also call it reflective listening, where you're reflecting back to him and get more of him. Because sometimes as a wife, you have to kind of pull these things out of us when it comes to our emotions, and we don't want to somehow use. It's not that we don't want to. I want to pull that back. We have not been basically socialized to talk about our emotions, what we feel. And so it's not easy for us to get that out. So you can help us by active listening, asking those questions. And then it's important that you kind of also model and talk about your emotions, feeling words, right? Now, there's a distinction between feeling words and thinking words. Sometimes there's a confusion on people's part where they're saying, I feel that you don't understand me. I feel like you're not listening to me. That's not feelings. That's not feelings. That's an opinion. It's a statement being made. And somehow we think because we use the word feel or feelings, we're communicating feelings. No, we're communicating a thought couched in feelings, or using the word feelings. Feelings is basically, the rule of thumb around feelings is that you should be able to communicate your feelings in 3 or 4 words. Anything beyond that is mostly your thoughts, your opinion, and not feelings, right? So it's best to be able to understand your feelings. And I would just say, here are my rule of thumb, or just a way of kind of understanding what feelings are. There's a variation of feelings, but they tend to have these common things in them, right? Sad, mad, glad, scared. Sad, mad, glad, scared. People may say, of course, there's 2 others, but I just want to stay with that because I don't want to get up into teaching about that right now. You're interested, you could always ask questions, and I could see if I could do a whole video on that as well. So you have to help him identify, but know what your feelings are and model that as well. And also the role of empathy, empathizing and understanding. Now, this takes patience. It takes kindness. It takes basically believing in your husband, right? So it's an empathy and understanding and supporting him. Every little bit you may get, it's almost like you would do with your own child. If you have if you have children or a child, when he or she was much younger, you would support him or her in trying to get more of the thing that you want to see him or her do, right? Same is with your husband. And I'm sure it's the same with you as well, too. Now, before I share with you how you can support your husband and encourage him, and how to show more of the emotions you want from him, I want you to do three things, right? I want you to do three quick things, really quick things. That is, number one, smash the subscribe button below. Two, hit the like button below. And three, click on that notification bell, so you'll be notified of all new releases of this episodes on this channel, and you don't want to miss what's ahead. Okay, now here's the last point I want to make here, and that is supporting your husband. So we talk about then the common misconceptions about husbands or about men. We talk about the understanding your husband's emotions, understanding your husband's emotions. And this is number three, supporting your husband. How to show emotional and practical support for your husband. I mentioned earlier about active listening, but also modeling and validating him, encouraging him. So whenever you get something that you feel that was him sharing his emotions, you want to acknowledge and let him know you noticed, you heard, you saw. You encourage him, because he may not even realize that he's shown his emotions and just stated that. He may have no idea he did that. When you recognize that, it's important that you kind of just embrace and encourage and just like, boom, whatever, however you want to make sure that he understands and get that, you want to do that. So, because when you support him that way, it leads to a stronger and more fulfilling relationship, and he's more apt to do more of that. He will feel as if he is not constantly being barraged and being berated and being, just kind of feel pestered, because he's never doing enough. So by you supporting him, by you acknowledging, by you pointing out, by you giving him the feedback when he does that, these are the ways that you're going to support him and get him to do more of, right? To get him to do more of. And here's one of those ways that I know that a husband, many times when it comes to sexual intimacy, is where he's more vulnerable, right? Because he is how he connects mostly physically and through sexual intercourse. So when there's a sexual intimacy taking place and he's more vulnerable, that could be some of the times you want to. And this is one of those we'll say ninja tips, right? You may already know this, but this could be the time that you could actually. Now, don't make it a big thing. Don't somehow distract from the moment and try to make this a lecture or this is a teach you moment. No, it's got to be very subtle, where you kind of encourage him to share how he felt about the moment and what was it like to be with you and so on. And just talk about that and see if you can get him to use some feeling words, and then you give him the feedback. So that could be an opportunity for you to support and to practice this with your husband. Okay. So these three things I wanted to share with you again is that to go over the common misconceptions, to give you an idea about your husband and to understand his emotions, your husband's emotions. And number three, to support your husband. Now, this is very important as I recap this and I kind of close out things here, that my encouragement to you is to actively work on understanding and supporting your husband, right? Leaning in, letting him know that instead of, saying that, making him feel as if he doesn't have emotions and accusing him of not loving, caring, and so on, pull that back for now and just see what happens when you do these things. And so valuing the emotions and needs of your husband is a place to start. Let him know that you value and you want to hear his heart, but just don't pester. Just kind of use moments of vulnerability and subtle moments to get more from him. So I'd love to hear your thoughts for these 3 points of understanding your husband and getting him to become more emotional or show his emotions, not say emotional, but to show and speak about his emotions. So I would love to hear from you. Which of these stood out most to you? What's your thought? What was most helpful in this? And what other thoughts you may have in regards to this or other question you may have. So make sure you comment below, right? So you're going to smash that subscribe button. You're going to hit the like button, like the thumbs, right? A thumb up, you hit that thumbs up, right? And you're going to click on the notification bell and then you comment below, right? So I want you to do it right now. Like, don't wait, just do it right now And so let's kind of get this out of the way and make sure you tell someone and share this with somebody else who you know could benefit from this. I mentioned before, I have a free gift for you, and that is an ebook. And the ebook is free. It's entitled 5 Secrets to Your Happier Marriage, the roadmap to the marriage you've always wanted and so deserve. The links will be right below. So you can't skip over the, comment. Make sure you do all of that. And the links will be right below of how to get that at KingsleyGrant.com, KingsleyGrant.com/HMS ebook, KingsleyGrant.com/HMS ebook. Again, you'll see the links below. So thank you for taking the time to listen, to watch, share this with one other person, one other couple, one other spouse, and let me encourage you to stay tuned and come back, because the notification bell will notify you of the next release, and I hope to see you right here next time. With that said, my friend, peace out. God bless you, and let's make marriages happier again. Okay?